Yeah. Hi everyone, welcome to the top 20% interaction session. This is the third edition, and we have with us one of my most special friends. I think we've been buddies for what 8 years now. Trying
Yeah.
to do something in the education space, and now both kind of graduated from education space to human capital space. So kind of
Yeah.
trying to copy each other or compete with each other wherever we go. So Kashyap is um, a very creative person, for the lack of a better word. That's the word I'm resorting to because he's tried multiple things, donned multiple hats, and now he's got this very interesting mission of trying to identify polymaths and helping companies understand the importance of polymaths. So he's now working on an AI search engine for people to enable, people matchmaking and so on. So there's a lot of interesting things that Kashyap is doing. So I hope when the Q&A comes up, the Akshay Patra of insights will open up. And this articulation also, I give it to Kashyap that one day he said, this is the Akshay Patra. So since then, even I started using the same articulation. So
Yeah.
he's a wordsmith. You'll see that as we go along. So Kashyap would like to spend quick 10 minutes or 5 minutes of your advice for
Mhm.
these guys, and that will be followed by a Q&A. The idea is to do more of Q&A and less of,
Yeah.
session. So over to you for some, brief
Yeah.
advice that you might have for everybody to grow as an organization builder.
Yeah. Sure. Thanks, Tarun. I think you described our relationship and also given a good context to this, event today. So I think briefly, like I'll reflect on some of my very recent experience, which will be more interesting. I had an opportunity to work with some very interesting interns from Carnegie Mellon University. Just to give a background, like I have absolutely no preference for IIT or IIM or grads like that, but it happens that both my interns were ex-IIT guys doing their masters and in product management. One of them worked in Walmart for 6 years as a senior software engineer. The other person worked in Wells Fargo. One is IIT Bombay, the other is IIT Guwahati, and I am Kozhikode. So I don't want to get into the names, but just to give a brief background, right? So my experience, like trying to actually work in a startup environment, right? So I think for both of them, it was the first time they worked in a startup. Both of them worked in corporate careers and switching gears, like working in a environment which is more dynamic, more innovative and creative. I could my reflections would be as recent as just few months back. It was just the summer of this year. Um, so I kind of learned with them. So more than the advice I can give, I had far profound learnings in terms of how when you set a goal, to build an innovative product as a entrepreneur or as a founder of a new startup, I think there are some nuances. And then, when you're working in a startup that's already funded, it has a product market fit, and you're already kind of making revenue, then there's a very different episode. I mean, the whole story of the journey of the company looks very different. And when you work for a corporate, I think the entire equation is different. You're only more looking for sales, you're trying to sustain, you're trying to, just kind of take forward what was already set before you joined the company, right? So, um, in terms of like my experience, I think last 10 years I've been mostly a founder. So I had an opportunity to work for Voxen University for a while, but that is pretty much my employment. So I would speak more as an entrepreneur also, at the same time reflect on what an ideal team builder or an organization shaper would look like. Um, to me, like, I'll also give a very recent example of I started working in a bakery recently in the US just for fun, and I love food. So I was learning the art of making cookies. So I joined a cookie store, and to my surprise, like it looked almost like working in a startup because a lot of things are unknown, right? So right from demand supply, like how many customers are coming, and how quickly you kind of spontaneously meet the requirement of the demand for that day. It's a very agile system, just like building a software using agile technology. Working in a in a store is like, it's very humbling, because you see at the very front end, you may have all the skill sets in the world, but when it comes to really kind of thinking on your toes, literally, right? Working in a setup where you continuously interact with customers is like one of the most rewarding experiences I could tell you. I mean, there's a lot of stories around that, which I'll share in the coming weeks on my LinkedIn's newsletter. A lot of learnings. One of the primary, like, the new things I learned is, no matter like the theory and of knowing things like demand and supply versus actually kind of doing it when there's like nick of time, right? Like, you don't have a lot of time, you have very limited resources, like you don't have all the people that you can use in an environment like that, and still you need to get results and make sure that the customers are not, pissed off with you. So that is the biggest learning when you work front end sort of businesses. And I think that you'll have a very similar experience working in a startup, because most of the times the founders themselves are like, pivoting all the time, which means their idea today may not be an idea tomorrow. Like my interaction with my interns that I told you, right? So they were always asking me questions like, Kashyap, we started off with TalentMapp as a people search engine for finding talent with HR recruitment use case, but 3 months down the line, we are no longer doing that. The use case completely changed because the discovery of the product market fit gave new insights. So what happens is, if you're too bothered about like, hey, I think I don't really fit, I don't know why this founder is like behaving so crazily, or maybe he doesn't have clarity. I think it's not about the founder not having clarity. That's the nature of anything like new you build, you learn through a rigorous process. And I think you have to be very open to change. Like that's the only one thing that is constant is the change, right? And the example of, even a bakery that I told you, right? And it's always evolving. You might wonder it's not innovative. It's like a shrewd business, like a bakery or a store, right? But surprisingly, it is not. Like every day, I was seeing something new, something sudden, something unexpected, and you have to kind of spontaneously be okay with it. Like if you are not like able to handle that excess sort of unexpected nuances, you'll not be able to take it, right? So one super like strength I would reflect on my recent learnings, is being like literally open to anything new that is not totally in the comfort zone. And most of the times you'll never be in the comfort zone, because I'll tell you, for TalentMapp, with this journey of the last 1 year, every single day, like I had to learn. I had to make sure that whoever was interning with me also was like up in the game to learn, and it is not easy. For me, it's hard. For the team, it's hard, and together, like we are continuously evolving. And this is for a 0 to 1 startup, which is not seen a product market fit, uh, you know, navigating through the nuances of AI, building a product in AI, which is even more challenging, because every single day there's a new update in one of the open APIs that we use of different like companies like either OpenAI or Anthropic or any of the products out there. So it's a constant like trying to understand what works, why it doesn't work, and also at the same time understanding business. So that's that's the challenge, right? And if you are trying to work and get a foot inside a tech company, this is going to be the story. So I think a lot of us have heard AI replacing jobs. I mean, that's like, we've been over that quite a lot, I'm sure all of us. um, but I would say the super strength, despite the fact like all of the tech and coding, everything, there are like so many Gen AI tools to literally kind of figure out a lot of things. But still, that whole grind of thinking, right, and the deep thinking, and which is the core process of deep thought, my friend Tarun, I'm really very proud of what he has done with the processes that you guys have. I think that is something that is going to be a super differentiator with human abilities, trying to compete with machine abilities. I'll stop here. I think I've given some gyan, but I will now leave it open. I want some questions coming so that we can go more detailed into the discussion.
Yeah. Thank you, Kashyap. Whoever has a question, please feel free to unmute yourself and ask your question. Whoever has question, please feel free to ask your question.
Hello, sir.
Yeah. Yeah, hi,
Yeah, I
Arvind.
have a question. I have
Sure,
a
go ahead.
question
Yeah.
that what makes TalentMapp different from other search engines? Because there are many search engines in the market. I have used your search engine to search some profiles in LinkedIn.
Okay. Yeah.
Mm,
Firstly, what makes it different from other search engines? Have you used any AI-based people finder, like using natural language search, not keyword-based search?
mm,
Like, have you used a chat GPT for people ever? So what we are doing is like a
ChatGPT
chat
from
GPT for people.
mm,
So you understand the complexity of like a long prompt, right? Like I want to
mm,
find someone with some personality traits, some skill set,
mm,
previous
yeah.
experience in something, and you can actually type it
Mm,
like a natural language. So typically when you go
mm,
to LinkedIn, and this is called semantic, right?
mm,
Semantic means it
mm,
understands the intent of the query and
mm,
not just the keywords of the query. So majority, I
yeah.
think, of the search engines are non-semantic,
Mm,
including LinkedIn.
mm,
Not that they cannot do it, but for some reason they have not. It is complex because of the
yeah.
business model that they have, and their model doesn't. So that thing. And second, I think what makes it different is this came out of my core like uh, drive as a human being, right? So my biggest
So,
thing is I don't see it as a business alone. For me, this
mm,
is like my desire. Like I wish there was something
mm,
like this. This idea came out of just a fun activity that
yeah.
I did. So the first version was not that. First version was a hackathon.
Mm,
We actually did a hackathon. We helped like a company hire like some people, and but then last year, I mean, this was in 2023
mm,
March when we started. But the journey didn't go forward as expected, and it was not very
yeah.
scalable. I could not figure out a way to scale it. But this year, the beginning of this year, like around March, that's when
Mm,
this whole thing of AI driven people search came to my mind because I was
mm,
using ChatGPT so much and I was like trying to find people
yeah.
in perplexity, ChatGPT, and because of the privacy of people and because of some technical nuances, nobody was enabling AI based people search.
Mm,
But now there are like some startups and some company,
mm,
not companies, but they're still startups based out of Silicon Valley. There are like at
mm,
least 5 or 6 companies that are doing AI based people search for mostly talent discovery for recruitment use cases. But as I said, right, this is not just
mm,
purely out of an opportunity in the market, but this is more
yeah.
like my core values, right? So I always wanted to help people connect with people meaningfully, like with the
Mm.
intent and the purpose. So to answer your question, like the single line differentiator
Kashyap,
is
if
we
I
are,
could
yeah.
request you to
Yeah.
keep answers short so we could go to and fro more times.
Sure, sure.
Mm.
Yeah, I think the question is a little deep, so
Mm.
I wanted to, because the differentiator,
Oh.
I'll end it with this,
Mm.
that we are a
Mm.
purpose driven people finder. So if
Mm.
people have a purpose to find somebody,
Mm.
we are the platform. So if your purpose is not clear,
Mm.
then I don't think TalentMapp is the right platform. So if
Yeah,
your
I
purpose
have
is
tried
clear,
some
then yeah,
things.
yeah,
Mm. I have tried some
sure,
searches like I have searched by the like experience. I have searched by the profile like data science, and I have tried one search as by the company deep thought. Then
okay,
it is not working, and all things are working. Like if I search for the company, I am not getting relatable search,
yeah, yeah. We
but
have very limited
otherwise,
data.
yeah.
Sure, yeah. I think in terms of the data, mostly we have
Mm.
US data and companies. Of course, like it's a you.
Mm.
I mean, getting accuracy for that is
Yeah.
hard. I don't think we have
Mm.
any people from Deep Thought on Talent Map, so it's a great opportunity. I
Oh.
would, ask you guys to sign up.
Mm.
We have a LinkedIn-based sign up. You can actually sign up and you can be
Yeah, I
discovered
have
on
signed up
Talent Map.
with my profile.
Oh, are you okay? Then maybe I can discover you in a natural language without
Yeah.
searching for you like somebody from
Mm.
deep thought. I can actually, if your persona is clear, then I can search based on your
Mm.
persona. Yeah.
Yes, sir.
So I hope it answers your question. Yeah.
Yeah, who's going
Yeah,
to ask
sure.
the question?
Hi, Kashyap. Uh, if you
Hi,
were
hi,
to look
Vanita.
10 or 20 years into the future, how do you envision AI shaping society? Like, in what ways do you see Talent Map or Go Digital now contributing to that transformation after such long years, after 10 years? Like, how would
Yeah,
you see?
I think I read the question. This was submitted, right? So yeah, thanks for asking this. Very deep question. I think this question probably is relevant for people like Elon Musk or maybe Juan, the Nvidia's founder. But my take on it, like where I can only give you some insights on how it is shaping up right now based on some of the facts. If you look at the large language models and generative AI, and also the pre set of like artificial general intelligence, which Sam Altman is so much trying to build. It is very clear that when you see like I will reflect on my journey with Advisely, my one of my tech startups I was part of for a long time. So we used to have a team of about 15 to 20 content developers. And today, I don't think there's a need for that 5 years down the line. So I'm talking about 2019-ish time, right? And long story short, what it means is, there's obviously a room for great content creators and developers, but there's no more room for people probably doing things that were valued once, like few years back. So, and I also heard Sam Altman saying that mathematicians also, down the line, 5 years down the line, will probably not be needed unless you are really like a genius, right? Which means, and this was said by none other than Sam Altman, and this is just a prediction because, and one of the professors from Wharton, I follow him on LinkedIn. He actually did a very deep scientific research paper on. I don't remember the paper now, but I can share it after the call on how AI can actually kind of write scientific papers. So if AI is able to write scientific papers, we have gone too long, right? I mean, these are some things that are already happening, and it's not even 20 years down the line. So what I see, purely like as somebody who's, as Tarun mentioned, is into polymath, is there will be rise of polymaths. Like at least 5 years from now, I'm seeing that companies will value skills other than what we talk right today, right? So creativity and ability to connect like domains like very interestingly, right? That AI does it today, but it will not be able to do as good as humans. So that is probably an area that humans will still occupy very much largely. And hand skills, right? Like if you're artistic and hand skills, I think that those skills are like, you will have robots to do some tasks which are repetitive and redundant, but definitely not artistic and creative. And that comes to both hand physical skills and the mental skills too, where there is like abundance of creativity and mixing four or five different like domains and industries in a very artistic way, in a very meaningful way, right? That is something it is more far-fetched for AI. AI will still be able to do a lot of deep things with one field at a time, which means you take, say, field one, which is banking. You have like specific AI or LLMs for banking. So if you are an expert in banking, it doesn't matter anymore after 5 years because AI will anyway cover all of that and better than what you could ever do, probably. But what it will not be able to do is, as I said, like connecting the dots with different fields more creatively. And as far as TalentMapp and Go Digital now is a venture studio trying to help startups from 0 to 1, like with an idea to accelerate their product development. I don't see the necessity for it. Honestly, it will just get. I don't see a need for Go Digital now in few years because even if you help right now, I'm helping AI startups to build AI solutions, but even that has reached a point where there are like platforms to build it. So the next version of Go Digital now would be a platform that will help AI to build AI and which is already out there. I don't think I can compete with the other people. So it will be more like a consulting for other things that are more nuanced, not a platform anymore. TalentMapp will be there forever. So it's like something that came out of my core value system. So it will keep changing the course as per like the need, but that will evolve into something very different down the line, more as a finding people and at the same time connecting people with a mission, as I said, and also reducing noise. Like I'm more heading towards mental well-being, uh, into a direction where you can actually reduce the mental clutter. A lot of you have something called as cognitive overload because of the lifestyle and a lot of things, a lot of choices that we are in a lot of clutter. And there is a way I'm trying to work. I'm researching on it with some folks from MIT, some friends from Harvard. I'm trying to understand like how to build a algorithm to declutter your mind.
Kashyap, I think if
Yeah,
you can keep the answers short, we'll have
yeah,
more.
sure. I think
Yeah.
this is the end.
Yeah.
So, yeah, the question was also quite long, so I'm
So
just trying.
I have a small question. Before
Yeah,
Talent Map and Go Digital now, you had this RPA2 AI research, right?
no, that's not me. That's other Kashyap
Oh,
Kompella. That's probably search gone wrong.
so
Yeah,
search about me, I got this. So I thought, okay,
no, yeah. That's a different KK. That's not me. Yeah,
yeah, thank you.
Okay, who's
yeah,
going to
sure.
question? Yeah.
Yeah, hi Kashyap. I have a
Hi,
question.
hi.
My question is regarding the entire how exactly Talent Map searches out employees. Uh, I have a question where there are scenarios where employees might not have good certifications or good degrees, but they have the technical know-how and they actually have the necessary skills. They just don't have the documentations for that. And of course, LinkedIn as a platform is based on showcasing certifications and degrees. And Talent Map actually searches out not only from the semantic perspective, but also like traditional search engines. It also goes through the documentations. So how exactly Talent Map determines people who actually have very good knowledge and knowledge of their pla- of the field that that they are working in, and how
Yeah,
exactly do they how exactly LLMs are used in this scenario?
we don't. First of all, we are not into recruitment. Just to correct, this is what I told in the last question, the first question. So I'm no longer like into recruitment. That's where I started my introduction. So Talent Map is not meant for jobs recruitment. It is only for people to find other person with a mission. So the use case is more now tending towards sales and marketing, where you want to find a prospect that is better suited for your product. You can find them. So I'm not in the area of human capital anymore. Like Talent Map is not the use case of human capital. Maybe we can get there. The reason why, in fact, one of the reasons is what you said, is because it is a relatively a tough problem to solve. What you said, verifying credentials. Even LinkedIn is not able to do that in a better way. So there are few startups trying to do a little bit of that, but it's just the tip of the iceberg. It's not like solving
Kashyap
anything
will,
great. So
yeah, I think this answers his question. Does it, Sagni?
Yeah,
Okay, who wants to go into the
yeah,
next question? Yeah. Yeah. Who wants to go into
Yeah,
the next
I
question? Yeah,
would
Paridip.
go in next. Kashyap, can you maybe tell us a
yeah.
bit about the algorithm that you mentioned you're currently working on for reducing mental clutter?
Okay. I'm right now sort of in a process to file a patent, a US patent. I cannot tell much of it. I'm also writing a book. So I cannot go into deeper details. It's a way to, it's so the mathematics apart, like the theory behind it is understanding like who's like really better for you. Like how do you avoid like people that really do not make sense to your life, right? I mean, we all do that. We all want to do that, but we don't end up doing that because of the noise in which the social platforms are giving right now. So the algorithm somehow tries to solve that using a lot of variables, a lot of deeper insights. And it's also kind of we're also trying to do something with physical networking, not just digital networking, which means it's a hardware device too. That's also part of the research, which means we get some of the readings from your app, iWatch, like Apple Watch, integrated, to how some of your readings are reflecting on what happens when you meet somebody that you don't like. Your heart actually responds in a very different way. So it's a very interesting area that we are doing. So I have a team of few people right now. I cannot give you more details than this, but in the digital context, it is more like filtering. So it's more like if you have 100 connections that you want to, then can we say like 80% of them do not add value? And why don't you meet only these 20 people? That's what the AI does. Yeah.
Right. So you mentioned that in the long term, you see TalentMapp as being a platform that can help in reducing this mental clutter. And you
Yeah.
also mentioned earlier that it's a platform where you can reach out to people if you have a clear purpose in your mind. So does that
Yeah.
mean if you're, giving very vague prompts in natural language, then you wouldn't really get a lot of prospects to connect
Yeah.
with? But if you're very focused and if you have a very clear idea of who you want to reach out to
Yeah.
and why you want to do it, then you'll be able
Yeah.
to connect with them so that the mental clutter is reduced for that individual
Yeah.
as well to whom you're reaching out, and you are also making more meaningful connections.
Yeah. Absolutely. I mean, you hit the bullseye. I mean, you were a great marketer. You understood this very well, I guess. Yeah. That's exactly what we're doing. Yeah. Yeah.
Thank you, Kashyap. Who wants to go into the next question? Anyone wants to go into the next question?
Yeah.
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 I
So,
would
do
like
you
to.
have any other question,
Yeah,
Tarun?
Anaya has a question.
Yeah. Okay.
Sorry for the background noise. I was asking, as you said, that recruitment model is so hard to crack, and your main focus is about to find the purpose-driven individual for us.
Yeah.
Why do you think that this is a bigger market than recruiting? Because I see that most of the recruiters and people looking for the recruitment only, but for the connection of the people, not for the finding some purpose-driven people.
I'm not interested in market. I'm not interested in money. I'm not interested to build a business because it's a business. This is, as I said, it's a thing that I believe in. So I may be a mad guy because I will not do anything because it will make money. I'll have a job for that. I don't want to get into a startup because it will make money. And because it has a bigger market, it may be good for a pitch deck to raise money. I think my core purpose of doing this is that I believe in it. I literally believe in it, even if nobody does, and even if the market is less. So I'm driven by it because my purpose is to make sure that this somehow gets into the market, irrespective of how small or big the market is. So I used to think like this in my first or second startup that you have to do what is bigger market, do better. I'm not even looking to raise funds. It is if people want to come and they believe in the vision, they'll come. Otherwise, I don't even care right now. So, and because I'm doing this with absolutely no strings attached, I have this liberty to explore. It's like I'm just obsessed by with this. So I'll just, as long as I can, I will just do it, without even. So I tried recruitment. I didn't really get kick in that, to be honest. It is something that's too not for me. There are better people doing it. Yeah.
So Kashyap, just to add to what you said, from a business standpoint, I think LinkedIn is, I mean, broadly speaking, to cash flows, right? There's one on the recruitment where the candidates can have a premium subscription and recruiters can have premium subscription. But then there's LinkedIn business, which I think gives a king share of revenue. And the LinkedIn business is all about prospecting from a sales and marketing standpoint or partnership standpoint, right? So in that sense, I think You could give LinkedIn
Yeah.
a tough run for money because on LinkedIn you never know. I think a large part of business development
Yeah.
guy's time actually goes into prospecting on LinkedIn. But if
Yeah.
yours is just
Exactly.
about prompting, then I think the
Yeah.
time can go a lot more into building the relationships with people than in finding the people. So I think even on the business case, this seems to have serious potential, especially for the new age startups, right? Where you
Yeah. Yeah.
need niche folks to.
Absolutely. I mean, I was speaking to some of our friends, like known people from the Hyderabad ecosystem, on their challenges. We are all there. We were all there, and we are still there. In terms of trying to get clientele, and hiring those rock star sales development or business development is hard. One, it's not a skill that everybody has, so it's a very big problem because lot of LinkedIn messages that are sponsored ads on LinkedIn are irrelevant. That's very noisy. So they don't go to the right prospect because it's like the odds, right? You hit like 1,000 people, it's like spray and pray. But how would it be if it is very relevant, if it's driven by purpose? That is where the merit of this whole AI people discovery comes in. And yeah, you're right. A lot of people are validated. We are right now building this product for this use case because the previous one was more broader, like POC. It
Hey,
was not
Kashyap,
very specific product.
while
Yeah.
you spoke this, something struck my mind. Do you think you
Yeah.
could have back-end APIs for advertising companies so they can offer targeted advertising to
Yeah, that
people?
is one of the solutions. In fact, we have the LinkedIn's marketing and advertising API. We got access to that, and so the first realistic use case that we are exploring is people are paying LinkedIn, right, and doing ads basically on LinkedIn. So they could do it in a better way. All the target audience identification, even for Meta, like anybody doing ad tech also, ultimately it's all like reaching the right people, right? And if that is so broad, you're spending all your dollars or rupees on wrong people, investing that whole ad space. And if the what are the odds of reaching the absolute right person is how your luck of trying to penetrate, it will ultimately boil down to that. So yeah, I think you're right. It's kind of an intersection between human mapping to the right ads, right? So it's a ad tech and
And
human sort of intelligence. So
would you also
yeah.
be leveraging the data that the platforms already have? Any thoughts on, because all these platforms have a lot of data, right? The advertising platforms. So
They
how,
do, they do.
at an
Yeah, yeah.
at a macro level, how would your platform connect with their platform to leverage your data, their data to do that
Yeah.
advertising, right?
Yeah, brilliant question, Tarun. I mean, this is exactly so. I'm, in fact, a good friend of mine here in Pittsburgh. He runs this company called AdScate. It's an AI advertisement creative analytics company. So what they do is they already have like good business clients and all. So they work with brands who are having like multi-million-dollar like budgets, ad budgets, and like big sports brands like Nike. So there are like ad agencies that run these campaigns, right? So what they do is if you connect your ad platforms like Meta or like Google AdWords, they have APIs to connect the ad platforms, and then what the platform does is analyzes all your campaign data. Because what the Google guys and the Facebook or any ad tech platform is, they don't care about after ad spend. Like they're only more like you spend the money on the ads and they give you target audience and all that, but they don't analyze like whether it was a good campaign, bad campaign, what could you do to improve the creative, like using AI. So that is where these platforms are missing. And there are like ton of other companies called ad intelligence companies, ad tech companies that are implementing AI in different aspects of ad campaigns, running ad campaigns. So I'm trying to work with one such founder here in Pittsburgh who run something called as AdScate. They do creative ad analytics and also do um, AI analytics for ad campaigns, basically. So it not only tells how good or bad the campaign is, but gives insights and actionable insights on what could be done to improve the outcome of the numbers of the ads. So these are things that are possible. But yeah, there are like a lot of opportunities. I'm right now like taking one step at a time, just building the first use case for prospecting the right prospects for salespeople. Once that we go live, it may take about a month or two. It's going a little slow, but once that happens, yeah, you're right. I think you're right on the money. It's a big. I mean, to build that is a long journey, but slowly, the idea is to integrate CRMs first, like HubSpot, Salesforce. So CRM data can be integrated. So there are already API providers who actually help you integrate these seamlessly. All the CRM tools. So once people are able to integrate their CRM, they can run an AI search to better like identify who are like more likely to convert into hot, cold, warm. Segmentation and enriching the sales data is also an area that we are trying to work on. And then the ad tech. So slowly, like the next phase would be seeing like ad intelligence mostly. Yeah.
Thank you, Kashyap. We have time for two more questions. Who wants to go into the next question?
Yeah, I would like to ask one more question.
Sure, sir.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Go on.
I wanted to ask that how exactly do you track whether the talent map search engine is actually creating an impact? Like, do you reach out to those individuals who have used that platform and connected with people? And based on the insights that you get, do you actually improve like, how do you improve the currently existing model? Like, is it a feedback system or is it like a system where you actually go and reach out to those individuals?
Yeah, good question. I think great question. This is exactly what a product manager does. You asked the like perfect question. So yeah, I think we are not there yet in terms of a full-fledged product. We are just a POC. It's a proof of concept right now. What you see, it's not even a qualified MVP. The the way I'm trying to build this MVP is by exactly following what you said. We right now do not have a feedback mechanism on the product. So it's a physical interaction. A lot of product changes, algorithm, a lot of insights in the backend, like in the way search comes, is through interactions. Mostly very early kind of feedback with friends, like fellow founders and some of the ecosystem guys. So a lot of that has happened, and especially in the current relevant market, the market that we are trying to eye is US. So a lot of feedback from the local market to see if it's solving their pain point. What started off as like finding people for startups. In fact, co-founder dating was use case. Founders trying to find early employees with a founder mindset, like entrepreneur mindset. That was one use case. So it was not a typical recruitment use case, even at the very beginning, when we did the POC. But now, based on these insights, right, like all these use cases came from the people because they said, hey, can I, find a co-founder on this? Can I find like a good rock star sales guy that will fit into a healthcare company? So how do you have these nuanced, very specific kind of prompts? You cannot do it on any platform in a meaningful way. It'll give you still a very large set of data. And you have to go through that and filter, and it's a process. So this gives you just the top 5 people, 10 people max. It's easy for you to reach out to them. That was the whole insight idea. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, just one thing I would like to ask one more thing.
Yeah.
You said that the talent map right now is mostly catered towards the US population.
Yeah.
Like, right? So
Yeah.
like I think like introducing such a feedback system might also accelerate this entire process of introducing this to other countries like in India.
Yeah, of course. I mean, the whole point to US market is LinkedIn has the maximum number of users in the US. The US is the first market because sheer number of users on LinkedIn, and we were directly connected to LinkedIn. But of course, India is the second. India comes next after US. I think has most number of LinkedIn users. So, and of course, yeah, it's a natural extension. So we would be open to other regions, but there's a natural advantage of the more willingness to pay in the US market. And my physical location in the US, that was the only reason. Otherwise, until last year, I would have done it in Hyderabad or in India. But this was only because I am currently here and I see that this is a better market. Yeah.
We have time for one more question. Who wants to go in with a question?
I had a question. So, since
Yeah.
the search engine is extremely purpose driven and there is a lot of nuance in how
Mhm.
it's helping them find people. So, you mentioned, employees with a founder mindset. So, then
Yeah.
I'm assuming that also requires that all the profiles on your platform also have that much depth in them, right? Because otherwise,
Yeah,
search engine
yeah, yeah,
wouldn't be able to locate the right
yeah.
people. So how do you ensure that? Like, have you introduced any specific questions in the profile creation process to ensure more depth in the profiles being created?
Yeah, so in terms of like the query, right? Like there are so if the query is like very nuanced, as you said, if it's long, it kind of deconstructs that into some 10 different categories. Like what was the intent of the thing? What is the purpose of the person asking that query? Then are there any references to companies named like Apple, Google? So somebody can say, I want an ex-Google guy with a founder like background. Then urgency of the request. Is the person very like seeking for urgent kind of a connection, or is it like the person has time, right? So a lot of these qualitative aspects are captured from the query, and internally we call this the entity extractor, because the entity extractor basically extracts these keywords, and based on the keywords it builds the semantics. So if the keywords are like, if you are really kind of doing a deep question with a lot of parameters, then it has like the entity extractor creates like 10-15 questions. So that's also dynamic, and it is evolving. So that's where the semantics come in.
So Kashyap,
So
when you
if your question is long, yeah,
Kashyap, the talk of ex-Google guys or urgency and so on,
yeah.
isn't syntax-based or keyword-based search?
Yeah, so we are taking keyword-based search also, but in a more natural language. They don't need to have a thing to select, or so it's more like you can type it as it goes. So the beauty of semantic is you don't need to specify very absolute quantifiable things. You can actually be more like natural.
Would
Like
you have behavioral data, in your profile to identify people based on behaviors?
yes, yes. So there is like a big five personality layer in the thing, knowing like what kind of personalities they come, and also the 16 personalities. But 16 personalities is not, they're not scientific. I would not call it scientific. They're ballpark, you could find like people. So there are some platforms doing this, with personality traits. So we extract even the trait of the person
So if I
based
say
on
that,
the profile.
if I say that I'm looking for a developer with at least 5 years experience in a product innovation company,
Yeah,
would it automatically search for, say, companies like
yeah,
Meta?
yeah. Exactly. That's the whole, yeah.
So
So
it
because the
regards
database right now is only 10,000 of profiles right now that we fed it with. These are real people. So there are two ways. Like one, to buy the entire LinkedIn data of billion people. So some of the competitors have done that with the funding that they raised. So there are two ways. Like one, you can buy data from Apollo, LinkedIn, or any of these data providers. There are ways to buy them. LinkedIn doesn't directly sell. There are third-party providers that sell the data sets. The second is like, that's the whole point of pivoting towards the CRM, is where, or HR, even HR, they have like data, but they don't have a AI, truly AI filtering. They only use AI for resume screening, which is also not a great thing to do, as you know. But more like filtering candidates using these nuances, they can do if they can upload their own data of people. So we don't want to be a platform which is data provider, but more insight provider, where you can upload data, because you can upload a CSV of contacts. If you're a sales company or even a startup, you would have sales data, just that you don't know how to prioritize on whom to approach and how to approach them. That's the area that we are trying to solve very specifically.
Yeah.
So to answer your question, does it answer your question?
Yeah.
It does, yeah.
Thanks, Kashyap. It was a very deep conversation as expected.
Yeah.
Uh,
Sure. Yeah.
So we have a ritual at DT. We like to, conclude interactions with reflections. So who'd like to go in with a reflection? So who'd like to take the initiative and go in with a reflection?
Okay, Tarun, I will go first. It's my first experience in top 20. So I have noticed that like at this time, I know how the prompting is done in a backend of AI. Before this, I don't have that much knowledge about that. And I know how how the talent map is searching by the purpose also. Like if we are having less prompting knowledge and we are just using the good keywords, it can go to the good search also. And
Mm,
I know that how the AI is growing and how we can see the future in AI also. And it is more about how we are moving with the AIs and all the tools, how they work, and all these things I came to know the first time in such a deep manner. So it was a good experience.
Thank you.
yeah, thank you.
Who's going in next?
I would like to go in next. So Ane had asked, right, that why wouldn't you go in for a market that has a bigger market share, like recruitment has a bigger market share, so why not go for
Yeah.
that? But I think after this entire discussion, my biggest takeaway would be that if you have a very clear sense of purpose behind what you're doing, then instead of
Mm,
constricting you in terms of market share or what you can do, it actually opens up more
mm,
possibilities. Because when the purpose
mm,
is very clear, then you can channel it into multiple directions because that core doesn't change. But
mm,
if the focus is simply on profits or finding a bigger market, then you would constantly keep pivoting because the market trends keep changing, new technology keeps coming in. So then you'll constantly
yeah.
have to struggle to, keep up with the competition or maintain that
Mm,
profitability. So instead of
mm,
constricting, having a strong sense of purpose and why you want to do something can actually uh, expand the possibilities in terms of what you can do with it
yeah.
and how much you can experiment with it.
But
Mm,
just because it's going live, just want to, I mean, since it'll be recorded and people will watch, just want to put in a caveat there. Kashyap categorically mentioned that he's pre-MVP.
mm.
So once
Yeah.
you, yeah,
The
once you start,
pivoting can, yeah, the pivoting will happen, but I would also, make it like since it's live, so I don't think I would still pivot into recruitment. Let's see. I think it's ultimately based on the journey, but my purpose, as I would just once again reiterate, is whether this gets money or not, I would just keep this alive as long as I'm alive. So that is sure, because this is the only thing in my journey of last 10 years that I literally kind of felt I should do it. I would not be happy if I don't do it. So it came out of that bug. And all other things were like, exploring opportunities. There's a big difference. So that said, yeah, I would be open to what Tarun said as well. We never know if money is something that can spoil you. So we don't know. So,
yeah. But
yeah.
Kashyap, the caveat that I was really trying to make was
Yeah.
probably at Vishkarma or Unique Biotech or even Deep Thought, the organizations, or Tejas Vidya, any of the organizations where all these folks are currently working.
Yeah.
I don't
Yeah.
think this logic is going to make sense because Kashyap had mentioned he didn't raise capital. So the moment you raise
Mm,
capital or the moment you're deploying your own personal capital, I think
mm.
you're going to look at
The,
the
yeah.
business standpoint of it.
Mm. And that's why I didn't really raise the capital, because I had opportunity. There were two or more people, in fact, who wanted to chip in. I said no because we didn't align with the vision. So I would do that as long as I can. I have the liberty right now to do it. Will I do it forever? I don't know. I wish I could. I hope to do so. So yeah,
That's a very interesting position to be in, Kashyap, to have that sort
yeah,
of liberty.
yeah, yeah. Free will.
So
Yeah, yeah.
anyone else going in with a reflection? Who's going in next?
I hear someone.
I have one thought into this. Like
Yeah.
we have learned one TED Talk sessions where one speaker is talking about three C's. One of them is the when you are doing something, if you are doing something that you love to do, it will be a great for anyone. And as Kashyap has told, he is doing that thing and that he loved, and he will be doing for that like whole life. And I connect to that TED Talk session.
Yeah.
Is
So
anyone
three
remember
C's, I
that?
don't know what the three C's that you heard
Yeah.
before. It's very interesting because I'm writing a book called
Hmm.
Noiseless Networking. I have three C's too. It's clarity, curation, and
Hmm.
consistency. That's my three C's. So
The
clarity
first
of
I
thought,
remember.
consistency, and yeah. So I don't know. It's interesting. I think three C's is quite popular, I believe. I'm also introducing one in my
Yeah,
own
I heard in
framework.
TED Talk.
Yeah.
The first one is like you are doing something that you love. Like if you woke up next day and you are doing something that you love, it's not for the money. It's for like your
Yeah,
interest. That few
exactly. So I
people
would
are
work on
doing
a
this
job
thing.
and still do it.
Hmm.
Yeah, that's what I'm doing right now, in fact. Yeah. Yeah,
So,
nice. I like your reflection.
yeah.
Yeah.
So, thank you, Kashyap, for joining us. And it was a wonderful session around AI, around personal passion, and so on. I hope this would inspire many more of the folks at DT to go more with a mission than just, see yourself as an employee. Thank you for, bringing all that positive energy into us. So
Yeah.
I think,
Sure.
yeah, any concluding remarks from your side, Kashyap, please go.
Thanks for inviting, and I was really happy to see the questions because they were quite profound and deep, and I think it speaks volumes on I think your process, deep thought. I'm always a fan of the all your processes, right from Socratic dialoguing to. So yeah, I think great job, guys. I wish you all the best in your your endeavors. So just do what you feel connected to and discover it. I think you're early in your careers, so it'll take time. It took me like 15-20 years, and I'm still pursuing and I'm still discovering. So don't get. I mean, patience is the biggest superpower. That is what I would believe in this era. Patience is going to change everything. Uh, I mean it. So thank you. Yeah.
Yeah, thank you for the patience, Kashyap. Yeah. So, yeah, Paridhi,
Yeah.